G'day guys, Scotty here from the Oak Barrel, right at the end of 2019. Looking forward to a new year, new decade, but also looking back at what's happened this year. We've had a number of exceptional whisky and spirits events throughout the year, so probably a good time to go back and just have a think of 5 of our favourite whisky events of the year. And the first one that I'm going to pick out here, number 5, is actually one that was quite recent, in the end of November there, with Lefroy and Dan Woolley's last go round as the Australian brand ambassador for Lefroy. Excellent fun as always. We had the whole opinions welcome, so everyone who came across the 2 nights got their own bottle of Lefroy with their own label on it. It gave me an opportunity as well to heckle Dan Woolley for the last time, including the famous Spice Girls walkout song. If you know what Dan Woolley's like, he's a very soft, gentle, unassuming man, so Spice Girls fits him very well. Look forward to having him back in 2020, hopefully with his new whisky endeavour, which is an Australian single malt label, which he's running with his better half, Billie Jean. So excited to have them both back, and also to meet the better half, because when you have a chat with Dan Woolley, you have to assume there's a better half somewhere. He can't be the whole deal when it comes to himself. Number 4 is another smoky whisky, this time with the Scottish international guest, Peter Wills from Kilhoman, earlier in the year. Big fans of Kilhoman here, and it's always just an exceptional event when a member of the Wills family comes to town. I think it made it even better this year by the fact that the World Cup cricket was just about to kick off, and the Ashes and Australia was looking very good to get up over Peter's beloved English team, so that was good on the night to give him a bit of stick for that, and then also when he went back home to the UK, giving him further stick as the Australians got up over the Ashes. So that was also a very excellent night, and it's always good to have a good looking rooster in the room as well to make up for the Oak Barrel staff deficiencies there. Number 3, an Australian brand, coming right after Whisky Fair this year. Generally, Whisky Fair happens at the last weekend of August every year, so generally September's a pretty quiet period for us. But when you have Sullivan's Cove in town, you sort of pull it all together regardless. So it was lovely to have Heather and Fred up from Tassie here for just a really exceptional night of the core range, but also everything else that Sullivan's Cove were bringing out, some limited editions and brandies and stuff as well, which were quite rare. I think it's what really stuck out to me about that one is Sullivan's Cove is such a famous brand now, and getting the stock is so hard to do that you can sort of forget how good they are because we just don't get the day-to-day access. But just to sit down there and not only just to see how good, just remind ourselves how good the juice is, but also to remember what a great team they have there. And I think between Heather and Fred and the team they've put together, now basically looking after the production and sales sides of things, one of the best whisky organisations in the country, as if anyone needed me to reiterate that. Number 2, I think I'm going to go for one that was very early in the year with our friends from Corowa. We had Bo and Neil up from the distillery down on the border there, and it was really the first time we introduced the brand to our customers here and did a really big lineup. We used every chair and every glass in the house trying to fit everyone into the room, but really great fun night. Ending up with people getting up in the front of the crowd and doing a bit of a taste off for extra goodies, which is always fun. And it is, again, just like it's having someone as good looking as Peter in the room, it's good having Bo in the room as well with his dreadlocks, because it means that I'm not the only one that needs a haircut at the time when he's there. Now, number 1 was a pretty easy decision to make, I think, and I did reference it very quickly just before, but Whisky Fair 2019 at the end of August across 2 days. We were upstairs in Australia Hall just above me, which was great to get that room again, and 38 tables across all different producers and bottlers from Australia and around the world. Certainly the biggest fair we've ever had, the 10th anniversary of Sydney Whisky Fair, and I think just the way that everyone comes together and you get such a great cross-section of people in the room, whether you're standing behind a desk or a table pouring whiskey, or having a chat with friends new and old throughout the day, it's just an excellent get-together of people. And I think particularly what the Scotch Malt Whisky Society did with the stage this year, if you came along to sort of do their mini masterclasses within the fair, also just gave it that little bit of an extra thing. And we're always looking for ways to improve the fair, so big thank you for them to coming on board with that. We'll continue to keep evolving the fair, because it's always sometimes a little bit hard to come up with ideas that aren't just put excellent booze in a room, fill it with excellent people, you're going to have a good time. But what's the little 1%ers that you can do? So we're already working on that for 2020, the 11th edition. But yeah, so that was definitely, I think, a highlight for the year. Quick, some runners up that we probably need to mention. The couple of North Star events that we had with Scotty Farrow. They're always quite special because it's actually legislated that Scott Farrow and myself, Scott Fitzsimons, can only be in the same room for a certain amount of times a year because dangerous things tend to happen. So to be able to get 2 North Star events and not have the place fall down was excellent. Big thank you to DHR, Dan Hutchins-Reid, for dipping into his own private collection of Berry Brothers and Rudd Blue Hanger editions to do, I think, one is probably the biggest verticals ever seen in the world of that very, very good and historic blend from Berry Brothers in London. And of course, the night before Whisky Fair itself, the Australian Annual Distillers Dinner, with people from distillers from all over Australia, established and emerging, and to have people like Bill Lark just sitting in the audience hanging out is always quite special. Of course, he did get up to chat at one point, even though he wasn't on the bill, but that is just classic Bill Lark, and that's always welcome. But I think for that one particularly, having David and Andrew Baker from Bakery Hill come up for that event was very, very special. It's good to wrap up, but we already have a bunch of events for January, February and March 2020 on sale on the website. Again, Bakery Hill coming back. They've got a whole bunch of limited releases in the pipeline. We're going to preview them. Won't be able to buy them on the night. They'll be released in the next 12 months, but very special to have them come up and do that. We're going to open a bottle of the Talisker 40-year-old, which is about $5,500, and it's been looking at me on the shelf for a little while, so I thought, bugger this, we need to try it. First ever Weller vertical. We haven't always got access to the bourbons in Australia that we'd like, but we're now starting to get that. So obviously when we get access to things, we go and open one of everything. So big Weller vertical, Old Pulteney coming up. Lots of the appreciation classes. Also very special coming up in March is going to be Iniquity's designer dram. Iniquity, very good friends of ours, come to the Whisky Fair the last few years, but never done a standalone night here. And basically the way that one's going to work is you buy your ticket and we'll either put you in a team or you can buy a team ticket for 3. There's going to be 500ml cask samples and you will blend your own whiskey, and whichever team is judged to create the best whiskey on the night will actually become the next release for Iniquity, probably batch 18 or 19 by the time that comes around, but that's going to be very, very special. And whatever you don't use in creating your whiskey, you get to take home at the night. So it's actually quite a cost-effective way to drink some cask samples. But that's all up on the website there now. My name is Scott Fitzsimons, and I look forward to drinking more whiskey with you throughout the year. Cheers.